Hello, everyone, and this is my review on the Justice League. Did an early show for this movie because it's a comic book movie, and it was gonna be like probably the number one movie for November, pretty much. But who knows? My thoughts about it: not too bad movie. All right, storyline. Storyline is pretty much picking up after Batman versus Superman. Where most of us know this one is more likely Superman 2, to be honest. Pretty much the aftermath of, you know, Man of Steel. Pretty cool cover, yeah. Okay, the storyline for Justice League, like I say, picks up from a few years after Man of Steel slash Batman versus Superman. Let's put it that way. Continues from there, really. A new villain is pretty much trying to take over the world. Like all comic book heroes, what they have to face the villain always. The villain always want to take over the world. Pretty much is these unique boxes that this villain is looking for. Not only will give him strength, but also bring almost a doomsday device to the world. Batman noticed that all this stuff is going around the world, that there's more violence now ever since Superman died. And also Wonder Woman notices that the world's becoming much worse now ever since Superman died. Batman knows that there's no way he can stop this villain. Sadly, Superman's the only one. But without Superman, what the hell can Batman do? Make a team. So Batman goes around areas looking for the Flash, Aquaman, and of course Wonder Woman goes for Cyborg. So at pretty much they end up getting all these other heroes now. The plan is to stop this villain. That's pretty much it. It's a new team of superheroes to stop the villain. That's pretty much the storyline for Justice League. Alright? The movie tries a little bit to explain Aquaman's background. Same thing with Cyborg and the Flash. To be honest, when it comes to those characters, how Marvel did with, Avengers, DC really doesn't have to do the whole individual movie, really, for each character, except maybe Aquaman, who's still more interesting, from my opinion. A character that a lot of people never liked until later on in DC Universe comic books. He became badass. Same thing with this movie. Aquaman is badass. It's a character I actually liked in this movie. Cyborg, you really don't need a movie for him, but I did like the actor who played Cyborg. Well balanced. He did well. The kid who did the Flash, not bad. He's a little, corny. The thing is about this Flash, I'm going to say this, he felt like Kid Flash. A little cocky. Almost, your Peter Parker, how he is with Spider-Man. Where, as today, I still felt like they should have used the same actor from the TV series, The Flash. But I guess his schedule and maybe money, who knew? Who knows, But the kid did well, a little cocky, since he's a teenager, pretty much. Like I said, I felt he was more like a Kid Flash. You unlike Marvel, how a lot of Marvel movies, if you notice, they do the humor thing now, wisecrack jokes now with all the superhero movies, if you notice this now. Justice League pretty much almost tries to do that, but the thing I do like about DC movies, the newer ones now, they have humor, but it's a little more darker, more serious, and I kind of like that. A lot of people don't like that, but I actually do. That's one thing I did like in Wonder Woman and Suicide Squad. They had a little dark humor in it, where unlike Guardians of the Galaxy was cheesy humor, but you still liked it. Same thing if you haven't seen Thor, it had that cheesy humor, but you still like it. This one, Justice League, had a darker humor. Um, the one major thing that kind of threw me off when I was watching the movie is that I felt Justice League was more storyline for Wonder Woman, where I'm like, I guess is they trying to set up more of a Wonder Woman 2 down the line, where they have given the whole green light to make Wonder Woman 2, but ain't gonna be the same director now who did the Woman movie. Is gonna be look like a different because I don't know, some of you have heard that the whole sexual harassment thing that's going on around Hollywood now, that a lot of directors are getting, they say there's skeletons coming out. So that's how Justice League did feel like the spotlight was more on Wonder Woman. And I don't want to spoil it too much, but the villain in Justice League was a part of the Wonder Woman villains next to someone, if I can, it's been a while I haven't read Aquaman, but also part of Aquaman's storyline. But it was mainly more on Wonder Woman. And knows that it was about this movie, it was more focused on Wonder Woman, how they did with Batman versus Superman, where the storyline was more focused on Superman than Batman. Even though we are, I know I am, I'm kind of a little tired of watching a lot of Batman movies, reboots, and hopefully you don't do that again for a while. But chances are, I there've been rumors on here and there about Ben Affleck not doing other movie being Batman, but who knows? Because I think there's also something about sexual harassment about Ben Affleck's background, something like that. I can't remember exactly. I could be wrong. But how I felt about this movie also, I didn't like the CG. This whole entire movie is almost CG, all computerized. You kind of notice it here and there. The one main character you do notice is CG, but even though you don't notice that much, is Cyborg. I will give that part. I was like, okay, Cyborg, I'm not surprised if he was CG. But the rest of the stuff, like backgrounds, you notice it big time. Definitely like in the city when they're in Gotham, other countries, you can notice a little CG here and there, left and right. Of course, the villains. Even though a lot of newer movies of superhero movies are mainly CG now, but with this one, with Justice League, you can notice a little bit here and there where I felt the coloring wasn't done right in certain scenes. But that's just me. You know, me. I've seen so much movies when it comes to CG. For this time of era, CG should be badass, like almost up there with Blade Runner, the newest one. How the CG was amazing. You don't notice it. Like same thing with Star Wars. You don't notice that much. Even the whole entire movie is CG, pretty much. But Justice League, you do kind of notice here and there, left and right. Well, other than that, I actually like this movie. I don't want to hate it. Be honest, but watching, from, Man of Steel, watching, the whole Batman versus Superman, watching Wonder Woman, and watching Suicide Squad, how these four movies, plus the new one, Justice League, somewhat is finally connected with the DC universe. I actually like this one more than Suicide Squad, and yes, I will admit that Suicide Squad, they put it too much out there. Like, I think for me, after watching it a couple of times, I know it's like, Suicide Squad is not all that. I think that for me, the main actor in Suicide Squad made it was what's his face, Will Smith, pretty much, in my opinion. Then when it comes to Wonder Woman, when it comes actually all these 5 movies total, let's put it this way, including Justice League, Wonder Woman is still my favorite. I would say that Wonder Woman I actually can watch over and over and over. When it comes out of these 5 films, Justice League, I actually would throw it up there, tied with Batman versus Superman. Because my second one, when it comes to these DC movies so far, is Wonder Woman, let's call it Man of Steel, a tie with Batman versus Superman, with Justice League, and dead last, Suicide Squad. Yeah, I said it. I know. Even though, I'm a hardcore fan of Harley Quinn and the Joker. We can see the t-shirt. The "Hey, Mr. J." That's my favorite female villain. And Joker, of course, psychopath, motherfucker. I like him. But Suicide Squad, be honest, I'm sorry. If you do go see this movie, do stay after the credits, because there's actually 2 little scenes. They're actually doing the Marvel thing now. Finally, thank you, DC Comics movies. Finally, you did something. All right, the first one is more Easter egg for us fans who read the comic book series of a certain character. It's just humorous little joke. Only most of us will get it and knows the outcome of this little scene. That there's no point to make a movie of it. Hopefully they don't. Hopefully they just talk about it like in the future DC films. The second scene though, this one, I would say I would love them to make a movie of this scene, but I feel like they're gonna screw it up how they did it with Suicide Squad. This is why I feel like if they do this little comic theme thing, you could say, hopefully it's for Justice League 2. And hell, if they want to make a Suicide Squad 2, that'll be fine too. And throw this little scene in it. Because the end credits, the final, like I said, the second one is probably my favorite one. Because they show 2 characters that, even though one character I was like, but the main character they show in the second credits scene, the end of the credits, I kind of nerd out. Even though this character is actually has been, I hate to say I haven't watched the show yet, but this character is actually on one of the shows, the DC TV shows on on CW, wherever. I don't want to mention, and I don't want to spoil it. When it comes to Justice League, I would suggest, if you want to watch one more comic book movie, check it out. If not, you can wait. I feel like they might do an extension version of this movie, like how they did Batman vs. Superman. And if you watch Wonder Woman, I also noticed, even though they don't talk about it, there is like a little extension to Wonder Woman for some reason. Because I remember seeing the movie, and when I finally watched on the Blu-ray, I was like, I don't remember those scenes. And I feel like Justice League, they probably gonna do that. Same thing. Oh yeah, Suicide Squad did it too, where the extra scenes in Suicide Squad actually did help the movie a little bit. If you haven't noticed, I don't know. I think only the Blu-ray version is the extended cut version. I feel like they probably gonna do that with Justice League. Um, yeah, like I say, check the movie out if you're definitely a fan of DC Comics movies. Um, or you want to see all their comic book movie. You don't really have to watch the other movies, all the four films that came before this one. You really don't. Um, Other than that, for a final grade for this movie, like I say, Wonder Woman's still my favorite. I actually will give it a B plus. I know people's like, what are you talking about? No, think about people. Like I tell everyone, I've seen so much fucking films. Okay, I have watched so much comic book movies that there's a limit that I can tell what's good now and what's bad, what storyline's good. You remember, I read comic books too, so that's a good thing for me. So that's why I actually will give it a B plus because there's little elements that I didn't like. Where storyline, yes, you need more detail, and like I say, probably gonna be extended version of it. Probably what 3 months. Usually, a lot of movies end up coming out on Blu-ray and DVD and on stream. Yeah, I'm gonna say about around March. Justice League movie gonna be on Blu-ray and DVD. But yeah, like check it out. If you have time, probably the other biggest movie that most of the people gonna be watching now would be Star Wars. I'll probably gonna watch that, but that probably be after the Christmas season when my schedule is pretty well decent for me from work. Probably the only movie I actually want to see that comes out. Uh, be honest, there's Disaster Artist, where sadly that movie is a you know independent film, and probably a lot of theaters ain't gonna be showing that movie, so I'm probably gonna be sad if they don't show that movie anywhere. In Star Wars, I'll be like, disaster movie versus Star Wars. Sorry, Star Wars, I'm going disaster movie. Yeah. But anyway, Justice League, good film. Check it out if you're a fan of DC comic films, or a fan of the Justice League comic book series. But yeah, that's pretty much my review for the movie. So, peace out, peoples.